All right, guys, if you live in the city, you've probably already accepted that they are adding chemicals into your water supply that you probably don't want in your own personal system, ingesting. So many of you have probably already switched to drinking bottled water, so you're not getting chlorine and fluoride and the things that we know that they're putting into the water. The problem with that is your skin is actually your largest organ in your body, and every time you wash your hands or you go take a shower or you hop in the tub, you're absorbing those very same chemicals you're trying to keep out of your system back into your system through the largest organ in your body. Plus there's chemicals that they're not telling us about. Roundup has glyphosate. Glyphosate has been found in many of the water supplies around the United States. Now, if you don't think they're adding toxic chemicals into your water supply, take a bowl and go buy yourself a 99-cent goldfish from the pet store and fill that up right straight from your tap and put that goldfish into that bowl and watch in a couple minutes it'll start floating belly up. Now I know all about removing toxic chemicals because when you look at my aquarium right here, this entire thing has some of the rarest stingrays in the world in this aquarium. Something that rare, I'm not going to take a chance on the water quality. Now when we look at this, what you're seeing is different kinds of filtration. But this is the filtration for the aquarium. It's not the filtration for the city water going into my aquarium. That's a completely different level of filtration, and I'm going to take you into my secret layer here. To filter the city's water before it can go into my aquarium, I created a custom 12-step filtration process. And I realized that I'm doing all of this to keep a bunch of fish alive, but I'm not doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for my own family. What the heck is wrong with me? So I'm going to show you what I'm doing for my fish, and then I'm going to show you how you can do that for yourself. Now, years ago, when I knew I was going to be having these rare fish, I created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's a 12-step filtration system. And let me show you something. This doesn't filter the aquarium water. This filters the city water. This is the city line coming in, and it goes through immediately 3 different pre-filters right here. Flows around. It goes through 6 more carbon filters, another 3 more carbon filters for a total of 12. And as we follow this hose right here, it goes all the way around, and it directly dumps, I should say, right back into the aquarium right here. The water is not heated, but it is chemically treated. And when I say chemically treated, it's treated to remove the chemical contaminants. Now, as far as that goes, it has nothing to do with the filtration of the aquarium. It's a completely different system. Let me show you what I do to filter the actual aquarium itself. Now, in this aquarium, I have a heavy bioload. A heavy bioload means I'm sticking a lot of material back into the aquarium that I've got to filter. So every single day, I take one of these tilapia fillets that I buy from Walmart. I then take a plate like this. I cut this up, and I got to feed them stingrays. Now, each one of those stingrays is about the size of a garbage can lid. They don't look very big because the aquarium itself is so big. But can you imagine 3 of these going into your aquarium every single day? That's what I'm doing. So that's how I'm feeding these aquariums. Now, the aquarium itself is filtered very simply because the water has all of the toxic elements removed from it. I can then just filter the water by removing the detritus, the particulate matter, and then I rely on the plants to do the rest of it. So this is an advanced hydroponic system. But now what am I doing for myself? This is where it gets interesting, because I realized that I was doing absolutely nothing. I was just solely relying on Big Brother, the government, and hoping that they were never going to harm me in any way, shape, or form. And I'm done relying on anybody else for my own protection. So I bought myself one of these Freedom Eco X systems. And all this is a much more advanced version of what I showed you that I built back there for myself. That is a point of use filter. This is a whole house filter, but this is only designed for municipal water. They do have one for well water. It's a completely different system. Don't screw that up. But this system will filter everything in the house. I have it set up right at my main line coming in down in the basement where my city water comes in. So everything has to go through this filter chamber. And I've looked this thing over carefully because I know water. Let's go into the back. When it comes to understanding your water quality, you're probably not going to nerd out as much as I am on this, but this is a love of mine. It's a passion of mine. So as we go back here and look, I've done over the years all of these tests: carbonate, boron, organics, carbonate hardness, alkalinity. I've got a whole slew of tests over here, and I just sit and test all of the water. And one of the things I realized that with this filter system, it has 7 different layers of media and uses a reverse flow technology. So the water is 100% forced through this, and they're also removing microplastics. They're removing heavy metals. They're removing herbicides, pesticides, glyphosate. All right, guys, I'm going to jump in here because I mentioned microplastics, but you can go to Ground News. I'm going to read you this article. Microplastics found in every human placenta tested in the study. A recent study published in the Toxicology Science Journal analyzed 62 placenta samples and found that all of them contained microplastics. This is the most prevalent type of plastic was polyethylene, which is commonly used in plastic bags and bottles. Another thing to consider is when you guys jump in that shower, I know I told you about washing your hands and when you're taking a shower or a bath, but if you take a hot steaming shower, those chemicals are getting into the vapors in the water, into the mist, and you're inhaling them right directly into your lungs. You're internalizing those chemicals every time you take a shower. You don't have to drink it. It's going into your system. And when that water, those droplets get into your eyes, it's getting into your system through your eyes as well. That's why a whole home system is the way to go. Not a point of use, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in this video. But it's really important, so make sure you stick around. They've got an advanced carbon inside of this thing that will help remove all of those pesticides and toxic chemicals, not just from us drinking it, but also from us washing in it. Every time you do this, you're soaking your skin in those chemicals. So some of you guys are probably gonna say I'm going overboard on this about soaking chemicals into your skin. I found this video on YouTube and I'm gonna share it with you, but for copyright purposes, I gotta remove this guy's voice. And I can't just directly copy his stuff. So I'm going to tell you what he's doing. He's pouring 2 equal glasses of tap water into 2 cups. Now he's sticking his fingers in 1 glass. And what that's doing is his fingers are soaking up all of the chlorine. The chemical you see pouring into that glass is just a chlorine test kit. You can buy one yourself right at Menards. In fact, I bought one right at Menards. Now in the time it took him to test that first one, he pulls his hand out and he puts the same amount of drops. He's putting 10 drops in the second glass of water. And what you're gonna see is the first glass is yellow, second glass has nothing, and that means his skin has soaked up all of those chemicals that fast. That's how fast we can soak all of that up. And you can look that up on YouTube for yourself. But let's get right back into this video. Every time you wash your clothes, throw it in a washing machine. You're soaking your clothes and then you're putting those clothes on and you're sweating, and that's going straight back into your skin. And we know that transdermal, let's not get too technical, let's not get too fancy. Put some lotion on your hands. Put some lotion on your arms. Does that lotion just magically disappear, or does it get soaked in through your skin? Your skin is like a sponge soaking all this stuff in. And I don't trust what's happening coming down the pipeline. Everything that I've said here, some of you guys are going to go, oh, it's conspiracy theory. But there's no conspiracy theory about what I'm saying. This is real chemicals. You can look it up. High levels of fluoride and fluoride is meant for tooth decay, but it can cause white specks on your teeth. The high levels of chlorine can cause eczema and skin infections. So none of this is conspiracy theory. But I am going to get into a little conspiracy theory because I am worried about what could be potentially coming down the pipeline. This upcoming November 2024, things could go one way or things could go another way. We've already got an unprecedented amount of people entering this country without our permission. And there's a foreign army now that's just sitting there inside of our own country. And if you wanted to take down a country, how would you do it? Here's where I've been thinking more and more about this and what spurred me to buy this thing. If you wanted to take down a country, they've already showed us how they could take down a country. They put it on Netflix. Leave No One Behind, I believe, is the name of the movie. It was made by our former president. And they actually just laid out the blueprint for how you could take it down. Remove the information, remove the infrastructure. But the thing they're not talking to us about is the easiest second way to take down a country is to contaminate our water supply. Now, the first thing we all know to do is if we get in trouble, we're supposed to fill our tubs. But what is that going to do if the water is contaminated? Because if they contaminate the central water supply, like the entire Twin Cities metropolitan area, the water supply comes from St. Paul. If they get to that water supply in St. Paul and they're able to contaminate that, that's going to mean everybody around here can fill their tubs up all day and night, but they still can't use that water. This is where it gets important to understand we need to protect ourselves. And the best way to protect yourself is with carbon filtration. But these guys aren't using just any carbon filtration. They're using 7 different layers of carbon filtration to remove all of those harmful contaminants. So I stuck one of these systems in for myself. I'm not selling this. I'm not getting anything out of you guys buying this. I'm just telling you guys, this is what I've done. But the same principles I've used as a point of filtration for here, I now have for my entire house. Every faucet in my house, every shower, every tub has this in it. Now let's go downstairs and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Come down into my messy space. You can see right here is where I'm installing this Freedom filter. Right here. The complete instructions are there, but that is what it looks like. Here, Zach, hold this phone. I want to put this in perspective. You guys remember seeing my little 12 canisters lined up? Well, look at this big dog right here. This is how much filtration I'm going to get. Now, they claim this is going to last 8 to 10 years, but that depends on how much water you're going to use. You want to be careful that you don't just go blindly out into this world without making sure that you're protecting yourself. So make sure you understand if you're using more water, you're going to want to change this out more often. Now this uses a reverse flow technology, so the water comes down and it is forced to percolate through this entire system and it gets hooked up into the main line of the house. So everything in my house will now be filtered, from my washing machines to my faucets to my showers to even the water in my toilet. I know I don't need to filter it, but I don't have an option with that. So I just wanted to bring this to you guys. I hope you guys stay safe. I want to get your opinion on this. Did you know that your skin is the biggest absorber of chemicals besides internally ingesting it by just washing in it, that it's going into your system? I had this weird aha moment, and I wish I would have thought of this sooner, because if I had, I would have had one of those bad boys a lot. If you don't already have an aquarium in your house, I'm going to recommend you setting one up, because your fish are going to tell you more about what's going on with your water than your government is. And let me explain. If for some reason my fish start dying off and my plants start dying off in this system, I know that that water is no longer safe for me to drink. The old miners did it right. They used to bring a canary down into the mine shaft with them, and if that canary died, that meant the oxygen levels weren't right, and they got the heck out of Dodge. And if my aquarium starts dying off, I know that something is up with my water quality. I think every single one of us should have something. God bless. Go get them, you guys. Stay safe. Just please stay safe. And just start thinking ahead. That's all I'm doing, you guys. This isn't a new path in life for me. Entrepreneurs, this is what we do. We are always thinking ahead. We're always putting our fate into our own hands. If you are an entrepreneur, you don't work for somebody else. Your fate, you decided, is better left into your own hands. That's what the entrepreneur mind frame absolutely is. So this is no different than just being an entrepreneur. God bless. Go get them.